Wine arcs through the air in slow motion, a crimson ribbon aimed at white fabric. The glass shatters against Lena Carter's chest, liquid spreading like a wound across her server uniform. Chase Whitmore's voice cuts through the prom music, sharp and deliberate. She's lucky to even breathe the same air as us. The ballroom freezes. 200 students in silk and satin turn to watch the scholarship girl standing in the center of the dance floor dripping with $15 champagne. Lena's hand trembles as she reaches for a napkin, and the camera catches what most people miss. Callous knuckles, the kind that come from years of impact wrapped around cheap cotton. Her voice emerges barely above a whisper. Enough. Chase laughs, the sound echoing off crystal chandeliers. His fingers reach for the black face mask covering the lower half of her face. The fabric she's worn every single day for 3 months. What are you hiding under there, waitress? Scared we'll see how poor you really are? His hand hooks the elastic strap, and for 1 second, just one, Lena's eyes lock onto his wrist with the focus of a predator tracking prey. Her head tilts 1 precise degree to the left. Then her voice cuts through the music again, measured and cold as January rain. 5 years. 5 years I waited for this. The screen flickers to grainy footage. 8 seconds of a nightmare that never ended. A boxing ring under fluorescent lights. A teenage boy in red gloves stumbles, catches himself on the ropes, then collapses face first onto canvas stained with decades of sweat and blood. A silhouette exits the frame. Broad shoulders coaching jacket with West Ridge High embroidered on the back. The timestamp reads March 7, 2020. Text crawls across the bottom. Marcus Carter, 19 years old. Cause of death ruled blunt force trauma. Investigation closed within 48 hours. 3 months ago, Lena Carter walked through the front doors of West Ridge High with a backpack, a face mask, and a plan 5 years in the making. Principal Reeves smiled from behind his mahogany desk. Welcome to Westridge. We're pleased to have another scholarship student joining our community. Vice Principal Hayes stood by the window, squinting at her signature. She'd signed with her left hand. Carter, he murmured. That name sounds familiar. Lena smiled, the expression hidden safely behind black fabric. It's a common name, sir. Very common. 2 weeks into the semester, she sat alone in the library after hours. Her fingers scrolled through California Title IX guidelines, then shifted to Penal Code Section 11983. A sticky note clung to the laptop's edge. 3 phrases written in the same left-handed slant. Phase 1, observe. Phase 2, document. Phase 3, trigger. The librarian passed by without looking, and Lena clicked to another tab. Archived news articles about a boxer who died too young and the coach who walked away without charges. Gym class brought the first real test. Chase Whitmore. 6 feet of entitlement wrapped in a varsity letterman jacket. Shoved a freshman against the lockers hard enough to leave a dent in the metal. Move when I'm walking. Scholarship trash. Lena watched from 20 feet away, her jaw tightening beneath the mask until her MERS ached, her hands curled into fists, then deliberately relaxed. She adjusted the mask's elastic, turned, and walked in the opposite direction. Revenge isn't a moment, she reminded herself. It's a blueprint. The first digital attack came during week 1. Dakota Lane, Chase's date and unofficial social media enforcer, posted a photo to her 10,000 followers. The caption read, "New scholarship girl thinks she's special. Know your place." Within an hour, 47 students had shared it. Lena screenshot every single one, saving them in a folder labeled Evidence Harassment Protocol. Week 2 brought verbal escalation. Chase cornered her in the hallway between 3rd and 4th period. My dad says your family tried to sue the school district a few years back. Pathetic losers who couldn't accept reality. He leaned in close. Some people just aren't meant for places like this. Lena recited from memory, her voice flat as a textbook. California Education Code 48900.4. Bullying based on actual or perceived socioeconomic status constitutes grounds for disciplinary action documented. Her phone sat in her blazer pocket, recording app running silently. Property damage arrived in week 3. Lena opened her locker on a Tuesday morning to find the interior spray painted. Welfare trash. She photographed the damage from 4 angles, then composed an email to Vice Principal Hayes. His response arrived 6 hours later. Insufficient evidence to pursue investigation. Please clean the locker yourself. She printed the email, added it to a growing file folder in her backpack. The social sabotage felt almost inevitable. Prom committee met in the student council room. Chase controlled the meeting with ease. I nominate Lena Carter for logistics support. She's very detail-oriented. Dakota giggled, and the rest nodded along. Logistics support translated to server uniform, champagne trays, and standing against the wall while everyone else danced. Lena accepted without hesitation. Thank you for the opportunity. Under the table, she wore her brother's old boxing hand wraps beneath her blazer sleeves. Week 7 brought academic manipulation. Lena arrived at the main office to submit her scholarship renewal form. 3 days later, Hayes called her into his office. I'm afraid there's a problem with your renewal. We seem to have misplaced your submission. Lena nodded slowly, then pulled a second copy from her backpack. I anticipated potential issues. She placed it on his desk along with the CC list. District Office, State Board of Education, and the California Civil Liberties Union. Hayes' smile evaporated. The renewal was processed by end of business that day, but it was the parking lot incident in week 9 that nearly broke her careful control. Chase's Mercedes SUV pulled into the space beside her. He opened his driver's side door fast and hard, the heavy panel swinging toward her with enough force to dent metal, except it didn't connect. Lena's body moved before her conscious mind registered the threat. Weight shifting to her back foot, torso rotating, backpack swinging wide in a perfect counterbalance. The SUV door missed her by inches. Chase's friend Marcus Jr. stared from the passenger seat. Did you see that move? She's got reflexes. Lena adjusted her mask. Reflex. Just reflex. That night, alone in the apartment she shared with her mother, Lena opened her laptop and added another entry to her documentation file. Incident 9. Attempted assault with vehicle. Witnesses present. Then she opened a second file, one she kept password protected. This file contained scanned copies of her brother's medical records from the night he died, Coach Whitmore's official statement to police, and a trail of deleted emails she'd recovered. The emails revealed what the investigation had missed. Coach Whitmore knew Marcus had a concussion from sparring 3 days before the match. He'd known and pushed Marcus into the ring anyway because there was money on the fight. Illegal betting money from promoters with ties to Nevada casinos. Marcus' death wasn't tragic bad luck. It was negligent homicide wrapped in small-town corruption. But what Lena didn't know was that Dakota Lane had been filming everything for weeks. Every interaction, every moment of careful control. Dakota's phone held dozens of edited clips, carefully cropped to remove context, ready to deploy. The narrative was already written. Violent outsider attacks beloved local students. That moment was coming. Tomorrow night, prom night. The actual evening arrived with perfect weather. Clear skies, temperature in the mid-70s. Lena stood in front of her bathroom mirror, adjusting the black server uniform. Her mother appeared in the doorway, still in scrubs. You don't have to do this. We can find another school. Lena shook her head. Yes, I do for Marcus. Baby, Marcus wouldn't want you destroying your future for revenge. I'm not destroying anything. I'm building it. I'm building a case. Everything I've done follows the rules. Documentation, proper channels, evidence collection. When this is over, they can't say I came in swinging. The West Ridge High Gymnasium had been transformed. Fairy lights strung from every surface, a DJ booth, and a champagne fountain. Lena arrived through the service entrance at 7:30 p.m. and received her assignment. Circulate with champagne trays. Keep glasses full, remain invisible. The first hour passed in a blur of fake smiles and ignored requests. Students grabbed glasses from her tray without acknowledgement. At 8:47 p.m., the moment arrived. Chase crossed the dance floor, his gait slightly unsteady. He grabbed Lena's wrist. "Dance with me, waitress. Let's show everyone how generous I am." His friends laughed, forming a circle. Dakota's phone appeared immediately, camera light blinking red for her live stream. Lena sat down the tray. "I'm working. Please let go." "I don't think so." He pulled her onto the dance floor. Chase's hands landed on her waist. Too low, too familiar. "See, this isn't so bad. Maybe if you're nice, I'll even tip you." The wine came next. He snatched a glass from a passing tray and tilted it deliberately, watching her face as red liquid splashed across white fabric. The crowd gasped, then laughed, then pulled out their phones. And Chase, riding the wave of attention, reached for the one thing Lena had protected for 93 consecutive days: her mask. His fingers hooked the elastic strap and pulled. The fabric stretched, started to tear, and in that instant, something shifted in Lena's eyes. A fury that tasted like 5-year-old grief. Her hand shot up to intercept his wrist with precision that came from muscle memory older than high school. The mask dangled loose, half on and half off, and several students in the crowd suddenly stopped laughing. A girl near the front whispered to her date, "Wait, don't I know her from somewhere?" Another kid pulled up his phone. Carter Boxer, California. Vice Principal Hayes stood frozen near the entrance, his phone displaying a news article from 2020. The one with a photo of a teenage girl holding a championship belt, but Chase didn't notice any of it. He lunged forward again, reaching for her face with both hands. "Let's see what you're really hiding." He never finished the sentence. Lena's body moved with the fluid economy of someone who'd spent 10,000 hours in a boxing ring. Her left hand came up in a perfect hook. Not wild, not lucky, but textbook form that started in her feet, traveled through her hips, and ended in a connection that dropped Chase Whitmore onto the polished gymnasium floor. The sound was catastrophic. The collective gasp of 200 students, and the dull thud of expensive shoes hitting expensive floor. Security guards rushed forward, then stopped in confusion. The CCTV footage streaming live to Hayes' phone showed everything. Chase's aggression, the torn mask, the grip on her shoulders, and Lena's response. Minimal and controlled. Dakota's live stream captured it all from the perfect angle, unedited and timestamped, already shared 400 times in 30 seconds. The comments section exploded. "That's self-defense." "Wait, who is she?" Someone searched her name. "Oh my God, I found it. She's a state champion." The music died. The lights came up harsh and fluorescent. And Lena Carter stood in the center of the dance floor, her mask finally hanging useless around her neck, her face exposed after 3 months of careful hiding. Around her, students stared at their phones, connecting dots that should have been obvious from the beginning. Chase groaned from the floor. "You attacked me. Everyone saw it." But even as he said it, Hayes was already pulling up the security footage on the main screen. The video played in crystal clarity. Chase grabbing first, Chase tearing the mask, Chase lunging, and Lena's response. One punch measured and necessary. Hayes turned to the security guards. "Restrain Mr. Whitmore for drunk and disorderly conduct. And someone give me the principal on the phone." But the real situation was just beginning because Dakota's live stream was still running. and the comments were no longer about the punch. They were about Marcus Carter. They were about a dead boxer and a closed investigation. And in the parking lot, a news van pulled up. Inside the gymnasium, Lena stood perfectly still, her breathing controlled despite the adrenaline. In her pocket, her phone continued recording everything, adding one final piece of evidence to a file that would reopen a case everyone thought was dead and buried. Hayes approached slowly. "I remember your brother," he said quietly. "I was part of the investigation. I signed off on closing it." His hand shook as he held out his phone. "This is tonight's CCTV footage, unedited. Take it. Use it." The gymnasium erupted into chaos. And Chase Whitmore, still on the floor, finally understood that he'd just lost something much bigger than a fight. He'd lost the narrative. And in the age of viral videos and instant justice, that was everything. The gymnasium lights felt surgical. Lena stood in the epicenter of 200 stares. Her chest rose and fell in measured breaths. Hayes stepped forward, his phone still displaying the CCTV footage. "Everyone stay where you are. No one leaves until we have statements." He turned to the security guards. "Restrain Mr. Whitmore for assault and public intoxication. Miss Carter acted in clear self-defense." Chase's face went crimson. "Are you serious? My father will have your job by morning." Hayes met his gaze without flinching. "Your father doesn't employ me. The school board does, and they tend to care about federal liability when assault is captured on camera." Dakota was already moving. She crossed the dance floor, stopping 3 feet from Lena. "I know who you are. You're the Carter from the boxing articles, the one whose brother died in the ring. Here at this school." The gymnasium went quiet. The dead boxer, the closed investigation, Coach Whitmore's name attached to both. Lena's voice emerged steady and clear. "My brother Marcus died in this town's boxing ring 5 years ago. Coach Whitmore forced him to fight with a documented concussion. When Marcus collapsed, the investigation closed within 48 hours. I didn't come to West Ridge for college prep. I came to document every violation, every abuse of power. I let Chase humiliate me for 3 months. I recorded every interaction, photographed every incident, filed formal complaints that were ignored because if I'd fought back without evidence, I'd be arrested. But tonight, all of you filmed it. The State Athletic Commission will see this. Everyone will see what happens when you push someone who's been building a case for 5 years." Chase pushed past the security guards. "This is nonsense. You're making up conspiracy theories because your loser brother couldn't handle a real fight. My father is the best coach this state has ever seen. Your brother was just weak." Lena didn't move. "Your father trained me 4 years ago before my brother died." She pulled out her phone. "I have videos, training footage. This one is dated March 5th, 2020, 2 days before my brother's fatal match." She pressed play. Coach Whitmore's voice emerged from the speaker. "Marcus is fighting Saturday whether he's ready or not. I've got 10,000 riding on him lasting past the 4th round. Kids got a headache? Tell them to take some aspirin and man up." The silence that followed was absolute. Chase's face drained of color. "That's fake. It's timestamped, geotagged, and stored on 3 separate cloud servers. I also have bank records showing wire transfers from a Nevada gaming account to your father's personal checking. I've been collecting evidence for 5 years. I was going to submit everything to the State Athletic Commission next month after graduation. But tonight changed that timeline." Hayes' phone rang. Principal Reeves. "Sir, we have a situation. We have a student alleging that Coach Whitmore engaged in criminal negligence that resulted in the death of Marcus Carter in 2020. There's video evidence, financial records, and approximately 9,000 people currently watching on social media. Do not let anyone leave that gymnasium. I'm calling the superintendent and our legal counsel. Hayes looked at Lena with something approaching respect. You've been planning this for a long time. Since I was 12 years old and watching my brother's casket lowered into the ground while Coach Whitmore gave interviews about tragic accidents. I'm filing a formal complaint with the California Interscholastic Federation tomorrow morning. I'm requesting that the State Athletic Commission reopen my brother's case, and I'm asking for an independent review of West Ridge's Title IX enforcement. A teacher near the door stepped forward. I witnessed 2 of the incidents you're describing. I didn't report them because I was told to focus on teaching, not discipline. I'm sorry. I should have spoken up. Another voice joined, then another. Students who'd watched the harassment. Teachers who'd noticed but stayed silent. The testimonials built like a wave. Dakota approached again. I have more footage from the past 3 months. Everything I've filmed. She held out her phone. I thought I was just documenting you being out of place. I didn't realize I was recording evidence of harassment. Lena took the phone. Thank you. This helps. Outside, sirens approached. Police responding to Hayes' call. The next hour unfolded with bureaucratic precision. Police took statements. Parents arrived in waves. Principal Reeves showed up in golf clothes. And through it all, Lena sat on the edge of the stage, her brother's hand wraps visible, answering questions with calm. A police officer crouched beside her. Miss Carter, can you walk me through what happened? She described it without embellishment. Chase's aggression, the torn mask, the grab, the minimal force response. The officer nodded. Between you and me, I hope they throw the book at him. For what it's worth, that was textbook self-defense. You did everything right. By midnight, the gymnasium had cleared except for administrators, lawyers, and journalists. Lena sat in the principal's office, her mother beside her, pulled from her hospital shift. The lawyer from the California Civil Liberties Union laid out the next steps. The criminal investigation into Marcus' death will take months, but the harassment case can move faster. We have documentation, video evidence, and multiple witnesses. The school district will want to settle. The lawyer slid a draft proposal across the desk. We ask for mandatory harassment training, independent oversight of athletic programs, public disclosure of investigation outcomes, and a named scholarship in Marcus Carter's honor. Plus, you walk out with your academic record clean and your scholarship intact. Principal Reeves sat behind his desk, looking 20 years older. The board will agree to these terms. The lawyer smiled. Too late for quiet, Principal. It's trending on 3 platforms, but you can still do the right thing. At 2 o'clock in the morning, Lena finally left Westridge High through the front doors. News cameras caught her descent, her mother's arm around her shoulders. A reporter shouted questions. She stopped at the bottom of the steps and faced the cameras. My brother believed that boxing taught discipline, respect, and courage. He never got to teach me that lesson because someone put money over his life. Tonight was about making sure that story didn't stay buried. If you're being bullied, document everything. Follow the rules, even when the system doesn't. And remember that justice might take 5 years, but it only takes 1 punch when the evidence is on your side. 1 week later, Lena walked back into West Ridge High through the front doors at 7:45 in the morning. The hallways parted like the Red Sea. Chase's locker stood empty, his belongings removed after his emergency transfer. Dakota approached nervously during lunch. I testified to the district attorney. About the harassment, about my part in it. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I wanted you to know I'm trying to do better. Lena considered her. Forgiveness isn't something you ask for. It's something you earn by changing. She slid a piece of paper across the table. You want to earn it? Help me make sure this doesn't happen to someone else. In the following weeks, the consequences cascaded. The California Athletic Commission suspended Coach Whitmore, then revoked his coaching license. The FBI opened an inquiry into interstate gambling violations. Chase faced juvenile assault charges. Westridge High underwent a comprehensive review of its harassment policies. 3 weeks after prom, Lena stood in the newly dedicated Marcus Carter Memorial Gym. Vice Principal Hayes approached. "I should have fought harder when the investigation closed. I've submitted my resignation effective end of semester." Lena studied him. "You giving up your job doesn't help anyone. Staying and fixing the system might. You gave me the CCTV footage when you could have deleted it. That's a start." Hayes nodded slowly. "Then I'll stay and I'll do better." 2 months after prom, Lena returned to the boxing gym where her brother had trained. She stood in the center of the ring and for the first time in 5 years allowed herself to throw punches without the weight of revenge. Her phone buzzed. An email from an anonymous sender. "My brother was in that gym the night Marcus died. Coach told him to keep quiet or lose his scholarship. Tonight, he's finally talking to investigators. You showed him it was possible." That evening, the local news reported on Coach Whitmore's indictment. 18 counts, including negligent homicide, wire fraud, and endangering the welfare of minors. Her mother turned down the volume. "How do you feel watching all this happen?" "Tired, but like I can finally breathe without the mask." That night, alone in her room, Lena opened her laptop. The folder labeled Phase 3 trigger was complete. She created a new folder, Phase 4. Inside, she began drafting legislation for state-level reform of high school athletic oversight. Revenge, she discovered, wasn't a punch. It was systemic change. Her phone buzzed a final time before midnight. Another anonymous message containing only a photo. "Locker number 4 at Westridge High. Door slightly ajar. Old boxing tape spilling out." The text read, "Someone who lost a sister the same year you lost a brother. The story isn't over." Lena stared at the image. Another victim. Another family destroyed. She typed back slowly, "Who is this?" The response came immediately. "Someone who watched you fight. Someone who's ready to stop hiding, too." Lena closed the laptop, exhaustion and determination warring in her chest. Justice wasn't one fight. It was a series of battles, each one clearing ground for the next person who needed to stand and be counted. She looked at her brother's photo on the nightstand. "Round 2, she whispered. Then she cracked her knuckles and allowed herself to smile, not with triumph, but with purpose. There was more work to do. The fight was over. The movement was just beginning.